Hello TikTok, it's story time. I have been contemplating on where to start on my story. I don't want to get too involved, too much detail until more towards the end of my story. This is part one. My name is Juliana. I was born and raised in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I was born in June of 1977. That makes me a Gen Xer. I have a younger brother. I was raised by my mom and my father, who were very hardworking parents to make sure that me and my brother had everything that we needed and wanted in life. I never worked at growing up. I was more taught to focus on academics as well as sports. I played volleyball, basketball, and softball. I was always a starter on all my teams. I really focused hard on getting an academic scholarship to become a anesthesiologist for pediatrics. My upbringing was good for the most part. However, my father was very strict. He was so strict that I wasn't allowed to go to birthday parties, to friends' houses. I wasn't allowed to do sleepovers at friends' houses. However, they can come to my home. My father didn't believe that girls can be friends with guys, and I had nothing but guy friends because females just never liked me. I didn't understand why. Growing up, I would cry. It would hurt my feelings. I wasn't allowed to date until I was 16. And then when that happened, I was only allowed to date Christian boys that go to the church. That still didn't fly with my father. I brought a couple of guys that were interested, but there was always something he'd find that was wrong. We weren't allowed to wear certain clothing. He was just very strict. The type of discipline is spare the rod, spoil the child. He didn't always make the best decisions. However, I love him wholeheartedly because he's made me into the strong, independent woman that I am today. His way of molding me helped me to be strong, not depend on anybody, and know that I can always get back up and do everything. Where there's a will, there's a way. So I'm grateful for that. When I turned 18, I received a full ride scholarship to UNM college for 4 years. It was tuition and books. And after the 4 years, it was renewed for another 4 years. So it was an 8-year paid scholarship. My first year of college, I was doing really well. Of course, because I was so sheltered growing up, even though I traveled the world, I was still sheltered to the world out here. I wanted to drink, I wanted to party, wanted to have friends, and I was really smart, so school came very easy to me. I had went to a party at a frat house. A friend of mine was being inducted into a frat house, and it was a initiation ceremony. I showed up there to help support him, and I remember I had one drink. Now, mind you, I drank, and I used to drink like a fish. So I could drink a lot, and I drank one of them little Dixie cups of whatever was in the keg. A guy asked if they wanted to dance with me, And I agreed. So I went out onto the dance floor, I placed my cup down, and we started Latin dancing, salsa dancing, I think it was. When I came back, I took a couple more sips of my drink and I started to feel disoriented. I turned to my friend Andrew and I said, you know, I need to go home. And he was like, Juliana, you did it again. You're drinking too much. And I was like, no, I swear I only had one drink. Well, they didn't believe me, you know, because I had a history of being an excessive drinker. Well, to make a long story short, I never ended up back home. I was raped. I did fight back. I ended up getting away somehow. I don't even remember. It was such a long time ago. It was back in 1995 when this happened. Mind you, I was still a virgin. Yeah. I found my way to the hospital. It's where they called the police. I gave them a description of where I was. I was a little out of it. They found out that I was drugged, and they found the guy and they charged him. I thought he got away with it because he got only 5 years probation. Come to find out, he violated on the probation and he ended up doing 2 years in prison. I went before the board of UNM and I asked for a sabbatical. It was just too much for me and I was denied. So I couldn't handle going to college, and it just messed with me, messed with my mind, that I ended up quitting school. That's when I started partying really hard. I had boyfriends, guys that I was what we called back in the day macking. That's kissing, hanging out. And then I met my first husband. I won't mention his name because that's irrelevant. We got married the first 3 years of meeting the first 3 months of meeting each other. By this time, when I had left, I was considered the black sheep of the family because they felt, my father felt that I left to basically just go have boyfriends and have sex and party, not realizing that the reason why I had left was for the way the discipline was. I thought I was making the right decision. Well, I was just mad at my dad, and I married the first guy that gave me some kind of attention. That marriage ended 11 years later. It was a very hard marriage. I was abused physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. But I will leave the rest of that story on part 2. Stay tuned.